Good evening, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. So today we are going to discuss about SNAP. Okay, SNAP is another important MBA entrance examination whose notification is out and the applications are going on, and you have the examination on 3 different dates. Right. So what is the importance of SNAP? How you can crack this examination? Because it's a time-based test, right? A speed-based test, I would say, that you have to attempt 60 questions in 60 minutes. Okay, so how to ace those 60 minutes to score, maximize your score, and what are the cutoffs needed to get into SIBM Pune, the best college through SNAP, etc. We shall discuss in today's session. So good evening all, welcome to the class. So first of all, let's talk about, before we start, just an announcement that we are running a sale. So you can avail for 25% discount on our courses by using the coupon code DEAL25. So first, let's discuss why should you write SNAP. What is the importance of writing SNAP, right? Why is it different? And who should write it, right? Should you appear? There are a lot of students who ask that should you appear for SNAP or not? Okay, so if I take about the first thing about SNAP is it contains 2 colleges, SIBM Pune and SCM HRD Pune. These are among the top 30 Indian B schools. SIBM Pune must be in the top 20 itself. SCM HRD may be top 25 to top 30. Right, so those are the rankings of these institutes. SCM HRD is a good institute for HR. Right, if you wish to pursue MBA in HR management, then apart from Excel, MDI, and TIS, right, you have SCM HRD, which is a good institute for HR management, right? So these are some good institutes which can be targeted through this examination. You have multiple institutes accepting its score. Okay, so these are among the tier 1 institutes. Then you have many more institutes, SIIB Pune and some others which you can target through this examination. Then next thing is about the difficulty level of the examination. Some students are scared of writing CAT, maybe they are not very good with DILR, or they find verbal, the RC is difficult. Okay, and some students fear ZAT, IFT, right? But this is an examination which is relatively easy. But that also means that the competition is high. Okay, if the examination is easy, the cutoffs go high. Okay, so that is obvious reason. Now this another thing that is about this examination is there is no sectional timing, no sectional cutoff. Right? What would you need better than that no sectional cutoff? So maybe your verbal is not good, right? So you see that 15 marks for English. If your English is not good, you can maximize your score in these 2 sections. Right? You can maximize your score in reasoning and quant and still clear the cutoff by doing a few number of questions in the English section. So this is one big advantage for this examination, that there is no sectional timing and there is no sectional cutoff as well, right? So you can maximize your score in 2 sections and hence maximize your overall score. Maybe your quant is not that great, but your English and reasoning are good, so you can balance your score using those 2 sections. Okay, now like this is the pattern: 60 minutes, 60 questions, 1 mark per question, and for every negative you have 0.25 negative. Okay, and one important thing in this about if you talk about this thing, SNAP last year they introduced this pattern. Earlier it used to be a 2-hour paper. So when it came to this 1-hour pattern, they had no reading comprehension. So now good thing for the ones who feel that they fear RCs, they take time to read passages, right? They find RCs challenging, so no RCs also. Alright, so that means that they have drastically reduced the solving time, and you could solve questions at a very quick pace. So the English questions can be easily done within let's say, I would say 10 are more than enough, right? 8, even 7-8 minutes are good enough to cover this section, right? So 60 questions, 60 minutes, speed based test, no RCs. Okay, they've removed GK as well, right? GK they removed in 2019 itself, right? So if you talk about till 2018 they had 4 sections, right? So they had GK also, Okay, in 2019 what they did was they removed GK, but it was of 2 hour pattern. So earlier the paper used to be of 2 hours. In 2020 they made, because of COVID, they made a 1 hour paper, right? And you have this distribution, no RCs. Okay, so RCs are also not there. So doesn't that give you an advantage that if you are someone who does not like to solve RCs, or is weak at solving RCs, right? So that another advantage, and especially for the ones who are good with quant and reasoning but not with verbal. See, verbal has only 25% weight. Okay, so you can maximize your score in these two. Maybe you get 40 here, and maybe if you are able to do 5 or 6 here, you are easily beyond the cutoff. Okay. So if we talk about this, this is the thing, right? Then another thing is that you have multiple takes of the examination. You can write the examination on multiple occasions, right? So you have 3 dates. These are the dates. You can see that for this year they have 19 December, 8th of January, and 16th of January. Now, what does this mean? That you have enough time to prepare for this thing, right? Let's say after, so if you are writing CAD and IFT, then you have sufficient time to do this snap specific preparation. Okay, then apart from that, you have, like, if you are writing ZAD, right? If you write ZAD, that is on 2nd of January, then again you have sufficient time to do snap specific preparation. Let's say you pick the first slot and the third slot, right? So you have sufficient time for this thing. Okay, so that is another advantage that you have in this. Okay, then if we talk about the other things, like you can write on 2 occasions. There are three tests, 3 days. It is held on 3 days. You can write on 2 of the 3 occasions. Okay. Now this was the pattern, right? If you talk about VARC, so there were 4 questions on fill in the blanks: vocabulary, grammar, idioms, phrases, parajumbles, figures of speech. So it is mostly grammar plus vocab. Right, grammar plus vocab. So yes, you need to have good fundamentals in these 2 things, right? It does not test you on reading comprehension, but yes, you have to have good grammar and vocab to ace this section. Now talking about the reasoning section, it has basically your the questions are not group questions, mostly individual questions. There were 2 sets in one of the slots. There were 2 sets, right? And mostly it is individual questions. So if you see that analogies, directions, coding, decoding, series based questions, right? All mostly individual questions. You hardly have group questions. Just 2 or 3 sets you would get of seating arrangement, and those also not very difficult, right? Most of the questions are I would say that rather easy to moderate in the overall paper. That's why the cutoffs are also very high. Okay, so if you talk about the quant section, it is dominated by arithmetic like every other examination. Then you have few questions on modern maths, some series, pie charts. There was one DI set which was a pie chart in one of the slots, right? So you have like DI is hardly present, 1 or 2 questions. Mostly it is arithmetic, and then few questions from algebra, geometry, number system, and modern math, etc. Okay, so most of the questions, like if you talk about this paper, most of the questions are easy to moderate. There are a few questions that tend to be difficult, and those are the ones that need to be skipped in order to maximize your score. So now let's discuss about cutoff of SIBM Pune, that is the top institute through this, right? So the cutoff generally gets in the range 97.95 to 98.5 percentile, depending on the number of test takers and other factors as well, how many of them apply and all those things. Okay, so that is generally the range. Last year it was 98.2 percentile, right? So last year it was 98.2. It is 90, sometimes it's 98, sometimes 98.4, 97.6. Those it ranges in that. Okay, quant level is much easier, right? Most of the questions I would say are quite easy. Okay, there are only few difficult questions. That is why you see that people score like easily score around 40, 45. 45 is the cutoff, right? And that is let's say if 44 was the cutoff last year. Okay, so 98.2 percentile would mean that if let's say 50,000 people write it, right? So you are within uh, within 1,000 people, right? So 1,000 people are able to score above 44 or 45. So you can imagine that the difficulty level is definitely easy. So the cutoff was around 44 marks. Okay, and that was at this score, and there was no normalization, right? So that was yeah, 98 plus is considered safe. 98.5 is definitely safe in most of the scenarios. Sometimes even at less than 98 you might get a call. Okay, now there was a bad thing last year, that was no normalization, right? So that affected badly because there were three slots, 1, 2 and 3, like you're going to have this year. So first one was easy, second was moderate, third one was difficult. Okay, so now what happened, that they did not normalize the score, right? So what will happen is, of course, the one who wrote on slot 3 would have got a lower score, and they considered the best of your scores. So let's say a person wrote on these two occasions, so definitely this thing would have impacted that the scores have must have been low on these ones. On the other hand, these must have had an advantage. So that was a big flaw in the examination last year, that they did not have any normalization, right? So I hope this year they realize their mistake and have this proper thing of normalization. Either they have the same level of paper, or they should have normalization implemented this time. Okay, so you should at least target, like since it is normally going to be easy, right? I never say that you should target some specific score, but 50 plus with 90% accuracy is a good attempt, right? Good attempt, so you can feel safe, unless I mean the cutoffs even shoot up, but 50 plus attempts with 90% accuracy should be good enough to sail through. Okay, so that should be the ideal target for SIBM Pune. For SEMHRD, you can reduce the number by 2. So instead of 44, you will say 42 for SEMHRD. Then SIIB must be around 40 or 41. Okay, so those are the cutoffs for these institutes, right? So now let us discuss how you can crack this in 60 minutes. So how to utilize those 60 minutes, right? So how you can make the best out of it and maximize your score, right? So so first of all, before entering the examination hall, you should have basically the order of sections in mind, right? So you should know that which are the things that you know in the like what's your strong area. Let's say your quant is strong, right? Followed by logical reasoning, then followed by English, right? So you know that okay, you are going to attempt quant first, so that it gives you confidence in the start of the paper. Or let's say you are a verbal guy, right? Your verbal is strong, and here you know that you will hardly take 5-7 minutes to attempt the entire section, and all 15 questions can be done in easily in 7 minutes, because you do not have to read much, right? It is like grammar thing. If you know the rule, you can answer the question within 30 seconds. It won't take more than that, right? Similarly, if it's a fill in the blanks, if you know it, right? There's no point breaking head into the questions, right? And if you feel that quant is your slow area, yes, you can keep it at the end, right? So that you gain initially you gain some questions and make some score in the first few minutes itself. Okay, so as I always say that you should be starting off very fast, because you do not have much time to spend on things, right? So as soon as you see the paper, you should have, if you have your order in mind that you are going to attempt this section, right? So you just go to right, you just start like fast and try to grab as many questions in the beginning as possible. Okay, then always for any examination, this holds true for all examinations, whatever are the easiest questions, right? Spot them and do them at the earliest, right? So if you see that, okay, quant where they have given some easy questions on percentages, solve those questions, right? You find some easy questions, some seating arrangement easy, or some sort of coding, decoding, or syllogisms easy, right? So just go and grab those questions at the earliest, so that you do you take less time to attempt more questions in the beginning itself, and that gives you a confidence booster during the examination. On the flip side, if you start with the questions that you find difficult, it is going to be challenging. You are less likely to score well. Okay, plus that will build pressure upon you. So that's why try to figure out what are the easy things, what are the topics that you know. Start with those things and maximize your score in the initial few minutes. Then next is that you should not be panicking, right? So in case your paper turns out to be difficult, I told you that the paper is easy. What if the paper turns out to be difficult, right? So in that scenario, don't panic, right? The paper is going to be the same for everyone. If it is difficult, it is difficult for everybody. So just have a flexible strategy and try to think that what alternative can you do, right? So try to do whatever best possible you can do, and do not panic in that case, right, that the paper has turned out to be difficult and all. Then now talking about SNAP, what is the specialty is that most of the paper, as I said, is easy, but there will be a few questions that will be difficult. For example, there might be a question on permutation combination that would be difficult. There might be some let's say some logical reasoning question wherein you have to fill a grid with numbers, right? All other questions you would find easy, one question you would find challenging, or a question in, let's say, quant number series that might be tricky. Okay, so do not ever spend time on such questions, right? Those questions appear to be lucrative. Let's say there are four questions in number series, three of them were very easy. Now don't take it to your ego that I was able to solve three, why should I be able to solve the fourth one as well? If you are not able to hit anything, right, don't break your head into any question, just skip those. They deliberately put some speed breakers in the paper, right, so that people get engrossed in those questions and are stuck in the paper. So make sure that you do not you are not engrossed in such questions. As soon as you encounter something unusual, like difficult, or if you feel that you are unable to crack that question, just skip it and move ahead, because there are plenty of questions to attempt, right? So avoid such questions wherein you find that you are trapped. And next is that do not mark flukes in this paper, right? There is negative marking, so there are certain examinations you should have these strategies, right? For example, like in CAT, you have theta questions that do not have negative marking, so there you can have some educated guess for marking the answers, right? Here you do not have any such liberty, right? All questions carry negative marks, so do not go for blind attempts, right? Even if you are able to eliminate two options, don't go for blind attempt unless you have scored a decent score, right? If you are, let's say, you have already done 50 plus questions, then you are sure that okay, I'll be able to get 45 plus easily. Now let me try a few questions. You can take a risk in that scenario. But if you have, let's say, just attempted 30 questions, right, do not mark flukes. Okay, try to give your genuine attempts, and in case you want to take a risk, take only for a few questions. Okay, so that is about SNAP, right? How you can maximize your score. Start with the section that you are strong at. Okay, pick the questions, right? So take some mock test. So 1 week before the examination, I would say that 2 weeks, rather 2 weeks before the examination, start taking mocks. Maybe 4 to 5 mocks are enough. 4 to 5 mocks are well good enough to decide that what are your strengths and weaknesses, and you can then maximize your score in this. Okay, so as I said earlier as well, we are running this sale, so you can avail discount on our courses, and this is a month end occasion, so you get 25% off. You can use the coupon code deal25. Okay, and we have launched one CAT 2021 2-month crash course, and also a new batch for CAT 2022 aspirants. So if you wish to enroll, or you know someone who would want to enroll in this, you can recommend us to them. And this mega mock for CAT is live, okay, which is available from today till 4th of October. Uh, you can take this mock test and yeah, evaluate yourself that how well you perform in the examination. All right, so that's about SNAP, right? I hope you found something useful, that what can be done in the examination. how to maximize your score, what should be the strategy for solving the paper. Okay, and a brief that how has been the history. It has historically been an easy paper, relatively easy as compared to other examinations. If you're targeting SIBM and SCMHRD, you need a certain cutoff like 97.5 and 98 for 98, around 98 for SIBM and around 96 for SCMHRD. Okay, SIBM Bangalore is a decent institute, right? It is among the top 25 you can call, right? And in case, I mean, this is, you should have some sort of plan B as well, right? So let's say if and like in the initial stage for selection, it does not focus on your profile and all. In the final stage, of course, it does, right? So yes, you can keep it as one of the options, okay, and target this examination. Well, thanks for watching this video. Have a great night ahead. Goodbye.